So thank you so much for joining us today. And today we're very, very, very privileged to be able to launch this great book, A Long Walk to the Throne. This great book about a great man who has changed lives, not just in America, but globally. And that is none other than His Royal Highness Okogyeman Obrempusu Kobina Amissah the First. And he is the king. He is the king in the great kingdom of the Kuotukwa in Ghana. So today we're looking at his story. We're looking at how he has changed people's lives around the world, but importantly, the work he has done right from Africa to America and back to Africa as a great king. So just to give you a flavor of some of the things he's done and what we'll be looking at in this amazing book, here is. Thank you. So, as I said, we are celebrating this great man, none other than His Royal Highness Amissah the First. So, I'm going to request him to join us, and then we'll have a flavor of the kind of person rather than just looking at the photograph. And you'll be able to share a bit of his story on how he has ended up in a throne in Ghana, whereas he's born in America. How do you become a king in Ghana? So I'm going to bring him up, and he'll be able to show us or share with us. He is part of his story.
Thank you, Dr. Basingye. I'm the Chancellor of Greatness University. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. And again, I want to state thank you for this publication of this book. You did a great job.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing with us and for taking this time to be here today as we launch this special book about you. And the great title, A Long Walk to the Throne. As I wrote that book, but the same as I edited that book, I really felt that this message needed to be shared with the whole world. This message increases royal hope in the world. What do I mean by royal hope? Because when I was doing one of the interviews with you, you told me that in this long walk to the throne, it is vital to understand that one of my ancestors came to America in a boat, and they fly back to Africa in a plane seat. One of my ancestors came to America as a slave, and they fly back to Africa as a king. That is transformational. So could you tell us what is happening here? Because it's very hard to imagine how a descendant of a slave could turn into a king.
Man, Dr. Patrick, it's a phenomenal story. When you really think about one day on the bottom of a slave ship was one of my ancestors coming to America. Who would have ever thought that one day an African American would come back to Africa as a king? I remember I went to the Cape Coast Castle, which was where they housed slaves. Yes. And I remember they were actually showing as you walk through the historical site, it actually has a point where it has a door of no return. And that was a door that every single slave that came to the Western countries went through that door. And now they built a door of return. And I was
Yes.
standing there the actual day after my enthronement. I was standing at the door of return with my hand pointed towards the actual door of return.
And this
Yeah,
is the
right
door we're
there.
talking about.
That's right there. And I'm not sure if you understand how powerful that picture is. When you look at what the slaves went through to come to this country and have freedoms taken, and now I can come back and empower people in the continent of Africa, it's priceless. And I'm humbled. I want to thank King Okogyeman. He's the king over me. I'm the development king at large. Over 56 cities and villages we will build. And man, that journey I would have never imagined. Starting out as special education in Victorville, California, I rode a short bus to a special school.
Yes.
I was supposed to be a statistic that didn't make it, but I found God. And man, Jesus has helped me in every turn. And this is what I can tell people. Your beginning doesn't matter. When you find God, he can take you from America and make you a king in Africa. It's a phenomenal story. Man, thank you, Patrick.
And that is brilliant. And that's what we are doing today, really celebrating that journey to the throne. But at the same time, I tend to see this is as a walk. Like when you're walking, there are people you meet along the way. And today, some of the people that you've met in your journey in Africa and to and from Africa are here, and they're going to be able to share a glimpse, give us a bit of a glimpse of what the experience of walking with you has been. Because that's one of the things they think and understand about legacy. Legacy, some people think legacy is a kind of things that you've accumulated and you're going to leave to people. That's not how I see legacy. I see legacy as a kind of things that you leave in the people. So what are the kind of things that you've left in these people? Are going to share the story with us this evening on how they've worked with you and how you've impacted on them. So, and one of those special people is none other than Dr. Sophia Abdul-Wahid. So she's going to join us. She's going to share her story. Dr. Sophia Abdul-Wahid, she's currently in Kenya, and one of the great charities is called Pure Pearl Foundation. So she's here going to talk about the Pure Pearl Foundation, but at the same time on how you have worked with her. Hello.
Hello.
Dr. Sophia, welcome, man. Wait, ladies and gentlemen, this woman here is by far one of the great women of this world. I'm telling you, she gives me so much hope for the future of the world, and one of the most genuine spirits that is impacting this world. And thank you for being a part of this book launch.
Thank you very, very much, Your Royal Highness, King Okogyeman Amissah, Your Highness, His Excellency, Dr. Clyde Rivers. And thank you very much, Professor Patrick Businge. It truly is an honor and a pleasure being part of this wonderful, wonderful project and on your long walk to the throne. Man, I am so excited. Dr. Businge, thank you very much for honoring this great, great man, the king, Amissah. We met in Kenya several years ago in Nairobi, Kenya. And let's just say my life has changed tremendously after having this incredible, incredible man. He is such an inspiration. He's a man of God. He's truly a faithful man. And he is very inclusive. As you all can see, I am a Muslim hijabi woman. And Dr. Clyde, Professor Clyde Rivers, or His Royal Highness, the King, is so inclusive, does not care about your faith, your color. He is a walking, talking civility. Literally, he does mean what he says and says what he means. And that is what I absolutely love about him. He has been an inspiration and a mentor for me in so many ways. As a professional, I'm a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And like you rightly mentioned, I also have a charitable organization called the Pure Pearl Foundation, which seeks to educate, empower, and inspire women and the girl child in Africa, in the continent of Africa. And we established also in the United Kingdom. We've had several projects and mentorship program in which His Excellency has really helped in terms of education and looking to bring about a syllabus that's all inclusive to teach and empower the women, to amplify their voices. He started with me first, and before we moved on to the other ladies, and told us the importance of actually raising your voice regardless of what you're told. As you've had a glimpse of his story, he actually does tell you that your beginning does not determine your destination. He has instilled a lot of confidence and informed the women also. We interacted in several continents, in Europe, with Dr. Patrick Businge at the Greatness University in Luton, United Kingdom. We also interacted in the United States, in Indiana, when I was receiving an award, the African Woman of the Year award of 2019. It was truly such an honor. I have met so many great people through Dr. Clyde Rivers. He just explains how inclusive, how integral, how he's such a distinguished leader. And like attracts like, he has a lot of incredible people in his life. And I am truly honored. We've worked and are working on several projects on the pipeline with the Pure Pearl Foundation. As much as it's a non-governmental organization, we focus on the 3 E's. Education, which he has played a huge role in helping bring about syllabus that will affect or that will impact and change lives of the women. We have had matters on environment. We're looking to work on the environment civility aspect, and empowering the women all over the world, not just in Kenya. So I am truly honored and happy to walk with the King, and I pray to God that we continue walking together. One thing he's always informed me about is doing the right thing. Always doing the right thing is his advice, and amplify your voice no matter what. Stand up, being a lawyer, for justice, for peace. And it's truly an honor. I am so grateful to the Almighty God for bringing the King, Amissah, and His Excellency Clyde Rivers to our lives. I say our lives because he's practically family. My children absolutely adore him. My husband is a big fan, a great fan, Dr. Anwar, and he passes his regards. He's currently abroad, but says a very big thank you. You're truly inspiring, and the values that you have taught will forever stay with me. And just like a sponge, every time I have a conversation, I love to soak in the words of wisdom and the counsel that you give me. So it's an honor to be part of this wonderful book launch, and I'm truly appreciative. I'm grateful for you, and I look forward to working with you on so many other projects in the future. Thank you so much, great man, and continue changing lives.
Thank you
You're
so
such
much.
an inspiration.
And I have to acknowledge Anwar, her husband Anwar, man, and her family. Me and my wife went there to be a part of a project. They treated us so well, man. Dr. Sophia, thank you. You give me hope that the world will get better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sophia, and we hope to that the great work that His Royal Highness is doing is going to replicate many times as well. The work you do at Pure Pearl Foundation is going to transform women not just in Africa but in the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Patrick, she's a great lady right there. The best.
Thank you. Yes, amazing. Thanks so much for that great transformation that you're doing with women in Kenya. But at the same time, it's not just women, but as well you have the interfaith aspect to this. And she highlighted clearly that you are, as a person who has worked with her, you don't just work with, you don't just, you're very inclusive, irrespective of people of their gender, ability, faith, and you include everyone, and that's what greatness is all about, the ability to be able to include everyone in this venture. Thank you. So we are going to welcome Professor Albert Nasasagare. Could you briefly, His Royal Highness, could you briefly introduce him for our audience?
Absolutely. Dr. Albert Nasasagare is truly one of the statesmen of this world. I'm telling you, I've worked with presidents, I've worked with leaders. There's no statesman I've ever met like Dr. Albert. Dr. Albert, to me, is one of the most important people in the world. I've had the ability to be the honorary ambassador of Burundi for 15 years with the former president and Albert as his chief protocol. And I can tell you, I learned so much. Albert is truly a mentor of mine, and I'm honored to have him on this book launch.
Thank you so much. Professor Albert, welcome to this Royal Book launch.
Thank you very much, Professor Singe. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, Albert. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's a great honor to really to be part of the people who are invited to acknowledge and for the launching for the book for Long Way to the Throne. I can really testify that this is a long way, and this is almost 17 years. I know Sir Clyde Rivers, the king, Okogyeman, Amissah the First. I saw him since 2006. It was a very wonderful occasion. It was January. He came to honor the late president with honorary doctorate, and I was the one who was there to take care for him. And the president told me, "Here is your friend, so take care for him." So our heart was connected like Jonathan and David. And from that time until now, we've been connected, trust each other. There's nothing wrong happened between us. It's like, I don't know, this is a God connection, really. It's my friend, it's my brother more than my biological brothers, and is near me more than my relatives. He's American, I'm Burundian, but we are more than brothers. So from that time, I learned something very important to His Royal Highness. What I saw in him is what is preaching. Many people, they say things they don't practice. He's the one who raised about golden rule. Golden rule say, whatever you need someone to do for you, do it for him. And I saw he walked with that law, that golden law, that he put others in first. If you need to be great, so bring others in greatness. That's really what I saw. And that is godly heart. I saw in him the heart of God. I saw a book once. Someone was saying, the greatness before God is not perform miracles. The greatness for God is to bring others in greatness, others in glory. That you can say you are a great person because you bring others where you are. And it's something I learned to His Royal Highness, that his heart, his vision is to bring others in glory, is to He has eyes no one don't have. You meet just short time, and he will saw something in you. You know, we are living in a world people try to put down others. But what I saw these 17 years with His Royal Highness, he do his everything to release something new. He has he when you discuss, you meet, immediately he will see something in you and pull it out. And so, you know, you can do this, you can do this, you are great, you this. I saw you, if you do this, you can do this. And that is God's heart. You know, even you are sinners, even you are weak sometimes, when God speaks to us, he will never talk about you, your weaknesses. He will show you your strength, and he will tell you his plan to your life. If you are a wise person, you will correct your mistakes. You will work on your weaknesses, and it will be balanced very well. And that's that godly heart I saw in His Royal Highness. It's really amazing. And he helped, you know, you don't know your Royal Highness what you do, you know, to empower one person, you empower the generation behind. To be my mantle, you help me, you mantle generation to generation, many young people behind me. You mantled through me, you mantled whole nation. That nation is Burundi. Because to be with you is take me to another level and another understanding and an international exposure. I remember when we met, before you leave, you asked me something. Which degree do you have? I told you that I have a bachelor degree in economic science. And you told me, I don't know if you still remember, and you told me your wisdom, your knowledge is beyond the degree, is professor's levels. And you told me, if you don't mind, I'm gonna assist you in to take up your degrees. And you told me this: you have a knowledge, you have information, but the world how it is today, they will check first your bio. If they don't see you have a big degree, they will never give you a chance to speak to you. And I saw it. I remember everywhere I go, they ask me, send first your bio. When they see my bio, they say, oh, they book an appointment. So thank you, my friend. God bless you. And continue with that big heart. You are changing really the nations without, you know, change. You don't need to do big things. Change is to be yourself. Your Royal Highness, stay yourself. You have a golden heart, and a godly heart is that is what this generation is. Even in the leadership arena, you found people don't have that heart. That's why the world is facing this very hard crisis, because people, they lose, they don't stand what God asked them to stand for. God bless you.
Albert, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you.
And thanks so much, Professor Albert. And what you're saying is very, very heart touching. What do I say by that? Because it's one of the things you say that you saw in him, in His Royal Highness. You saw in him the heart of God. Not many people can say that about someone, which really brings us to the very core of our being. But at the same time, when I get back to the book that we're launching today, we're looking at his mission to Africa as a royal mission. But that mission is, you just said, it's a mission from God. So could you explicit, or could you elaborate a bit on the mission from God? First of all, I'm asking His Royal Highness, especially the mission you're doing in Burundi. because if I'm not mistaken, that is one of the key things. The book, you tell us about how you're working in the faith-based communities in Burundi and how that has helped out as well from Professor Nasasagare's perspective.
Yeah. First of all, the model country in Africa now is Burundi. Again, 17 years I've been there. I've seen a country be transformed, and I've seen media stories say the opposite. But I was on the ground, physically watching this country change. And I went back a couple months ago, and I was amazed at the development. The one thing that the country of Burundi did is it gave people capacity. It takes a bit longer when you're giving people tools to know how to work. And I can tell you, President Nkurunziza was a model leader that taught the people. And now that he's passed, the people are moving the country further than I could even imagine. Up country, 5-star hotels, things that are just the world's being transformed. Now, the mission that I want to do with this book, I want to get A Long Walk to the Throne into every education institution in Ghana, in Ghana, in Africa, in every African country. I want this book to get into every school, because what it does, this book here shows people hope. And here it is. I've never asked anyone to donate anything for anything I'm doing. I'm going to ask people to donate to our book project. What I want to do, I've appointed ambassadors over countries, and I want these ambassadors to actually take this book and put this book in the different schools, colleges, and education institutions as a book that tells people you can start at the bottom and end up in a throne. It's inspirational. It's by the hand of God, and I'll be giving more about this project later. But I need people that can donate to where we can begin to put this book into every library, school, or college, to where a generation can be inspired by hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And that's a Roy Hope project. So the calling is not just about being a king. The calling is getting this hope into the hearts and minds of people, so that when, for example, Professor Albert Nasasagare meets them, he can say, yes, I see the heart of God in this person. And I think that would be the yardstick of our success in this mission, royal mission to Africa and beyond. Thank you.
And Patrick, if I can say one thing about Dr. Albert, institutions, you need this man. You need Dr. Albert to come. He is one of the wisest voices of how to make things work that I've seen in my years in Africa. You need this man. Dr. Albert, thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
Dr. Patrick,
much.
I take this opportunity to invite you. I think His Royal Highness will going to give you an invitation for that. December, we are celebrating 10 years anniversary for our youth organization called Youth Coalition in Action. We have a lot of achievement. We have evidence result. You know, we've been these 10 years, we never show up a lot, but we did a lot. And we need to expose our achievement and show the next 10 years plan and inspire people that if you have a vision, be faithful, things can happen. Because what I'm doing today, when I was talking about it 10 years ago, no one was believed. They saw me like an adventure young people and a dreamer young people. But today, everything I said that time, it can happen. It's happened, and we are working in evidence and the result, and people can see what you're talking, and we inspire. So it will be like 3 days 3 and a week celebration, and we are going to His Royal Highness. We come with a team. I think you will be among that team, and we can
Oh,
expose
thanks so
about.
much for the invitation, and very honored for that
Thank,
amazing opportunity to be able
thank
to meet the young people that have been transformed by your youth coalition. Thank
Transformed.
you.
And when I talk transformed, I'm talking thousands of jobs.
Mhm.
People are entrepreneurs now, building their
Mhm.
own because of capacity. I believe
Mhm.
Burundi is the key model for Africa because it gives people capacity to build beyond what people want to control. And Albert,
Mhm.
again, and the president and first lady, thank you for the 15 years I served that country as honorary ambassador at large.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so
God bless.
much. Thank you. And God
Pleasure.
bless. Bye. So that is amazing. That's great. And really, we're going to shift the gear. We're going to shift the gear to something very unique that you've been doing and in your past, more or less in your 30 years journey, which is nothing than honor, a culture of honor and civility. And that's why we at Greatness University call you the godfather of civility. So there is one great person that is behind part of this civility movement, but at the same time, inspiration and guidance on how in your journey to civility and being a godfather of civility and taking civility globally or worldwide. And that is none other than Professor Gordon E. Bradshaw, who is joining us. Could you introduce him, Your Royal Highness, at the same time you tell us
Dr.
his journey of
Yes,
civility with you?
Dr. Gordon Bradshaw is the greatest theologian I know in the world. And I'm not bringing that from a religious standpoint. I'm talking the theology of the Bible, but a theology of how to work in cities, how to work in government. The best of the best in the world that I know is Dr. Gordon Bradshaw, and I'm honored to have you at this book launch, Dr. Gordon E. Bradshaw.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Thank you, Dr. Busingye. It's a great opportunity to be on this book launch today because I can say I know this man personally, not simply the figure of King Amissah or Dr. Clyde Rivers, but I've seen the man's work. I remember meeting Dr. Rivers, I believe it was 2015, I believe, in the Los Angeles area of California. And the first 5 minutes of hearing him talk, I said, I have to get to know this man. He speaks a different language. The Bible talks about a threefold cord that's not quickly broken. Well, I saw that in how he addressed the people. He was practical, he was profound, and he was productive all at the same time. And there was no showmanship in it, no theater, no intent to impress. It was genuine truth and genuine heartfelt concern for the citizenry, for people. And I said, I've got to get to know this man of God. So from that point, we developed a connection. And I had the honor of taking some of his classes on diplomacy, which absolutely gave me a totally different outlook on how to approach things in life. As time would pass, I became a part of an organization, having been a retired fire chief for 31 years in the fire service. I went back to the city of Gary, Indiana to see if I could provide some support and help for the city I used to work in. And I joined the Chamber of Commerce under Charles Hughes. And together we formed an initiative in the Public Policy Committee called Community Civility Counts. And we had no idea that it would go beyond the boundaries of being a local initiative. But because Dr. Clyde Rivers, impeccable timing, he gave us a phone call right when we were about to make the public launch. And he said, Dr. Bradshaw, I want to help with this initiative for civility. And I want to be a part of it. Now, little did we realize that we were going to go to state legislatures and get ratified through state congresses, through local community congresses, through municipalities, through corporations and schools. even to the extent that we got it in the U.S. Congress in Washington, D.C. But we said, listen, it's got to be World Civility Day now. But oftentimes when people attach the term world to something, it's a little bit theatrical because they may or may not have any connection to anything in the world. But it's a word people use because it makes them feel larger and bigger. This is no joke here. Ambassador Rivers actually introduced the world to our initiative. And each year when we had World Civility Day events, he actually brought the world back with him to the city of Gary, Indiana, to help us celebrate world civility. And the one thing that happened during the pandemic, it kind of slowed us down a little bit on how we would have meetings and push things. But during the pandemic, this man continued to push the issue of civility worldwide, not as a club, but as a culture that was going to help impact people. And I told individuals that the pandemic may have slowed down our gatherings in our local areas to have the banquets and the ceremonies that we had before. But when Dr. Rivers got a hold to it, he took it to the world and he kept it alive. So we owe a great debt of gratitude to His Royal Highness for making civility a life mission, a mission of life that is not just pushing to get a title out or to get an idea out, but that civility became a lifestyle. And so one of the things that I can really celebrate about King Amissah, the first, is his realness and his dedication to the process. When you talk about a walk to the throne, a walk any place, you have to pay attention to the steps that were taken. The steps that he took to get where he is today are impactful. And they're steps that other people can begin to walk in to make the journey easier for those that come behind him. It's phenomenal. Came from America to go back to Africa and have a throne. Thrones are important because they represent influence. And so this man has taken his influence for good, used it for people, used it to teach others, like myself, how to broaden our worldview, how to increase our periphery, our field of vision, and how not to see things so narrowly as we in America often do. We have a very limited point of view sometimes in America on how things are done. But King Amissah I, you are grand in widening the viewpoint of so many of us who work in the United States but want to have world impact. You've really given us the chance to do that. And you've taught us and are continuing to teach us. And I'm honored to be a student of the culture of civility and to be a student of the worldview that you represent. I appreciate you, man. You're one of the greatest people I know.
Man, Dr. Bradshaw, thank you so much. Coming from you, you're one of my theological mentors. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you so much, Professor of Spirituality, Gordon Bradshaw. The three P words you said really touched me. You said that when you met His Royal Highness, he was practical. Because a lot of people say things, but they don't put them into practice. Practical, profound, and productive.
Yes.
So that is the legacy that is passing on to the rest of the generation and the people that are listening to us today. Thanks so much for bringing out that important message of service and selfless service. And that's what we call civility humanitarianism. Someone who is very practical, productive, and profound, so that able to serve selflessly and change the world for the better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So very important. The people have been viewing us and watching us, and we like to acknowledge some of the messages they're giving us as well. So we have Linda Moreno saying, "You are an amazing leader." Amazing leader, and the people around the world who are saying actually they're very, 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 very glad to be here, but at the same time, some of the things that they found in you. You have Lucia Weremo, I think from Kenya, Golden Heart, true to that. So these are some of the people you've met along the walk to the throne, but as well we have Professor Glennon Rada tuning in from Trinidad and Tobago, saying actually and it is great to be here and listening to the messages and the legacy that people are sharing with the world. But having said that, this book would not have been possible without the support and commitment, various types of support, but we'd like to acknowledge some of the people who have supported the long walk to the throne. So we have Dr. Ira Roche, Professor Michael Pizzo, Dr. Lul Abdul Wahid, and Dr. Greg Dillon. So these people have really, we like to extend our thanks for the contribution they've made towards the research and publication of this book. And importantly, before I move on, we have a special message from one of the doctors on the way is Dr. Greg.
Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Dillon, and my work with His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers has been life-changing for me. You know, when you've been in the martial arts for 5+ decades and you develop different programs for women, children, youth, and safety and awareness, and then you add this civility and mindset into that, like Sir Clyde Rivers has shown all of us, it just takes your program to a whole new level. My mentorship with him, my friendship, my guidance, he's taken Have a Blast with Granddad and the Motivator so far down the road that I could never have imagined. I want to thank His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers for his mentorship, his guidance, and most of all, your friendship. We're just getting started, and let's have a blast.
Well, he's a great man, Greg Dillon.
Some technical problem, but we're getting there. Yes, he's a great man, and he extends his message to you and to the world about the work of mentorship that you've done around the world. And now I'd like you to take this opportunity to introduce Sir Rivers, to introduce Dr. Daniel Hapti, who again might be able to share his work with you, maybe through the various domain, whether it's mentorship or guidance and spirituality, whichever work you've worked with him. So he's going to join us, and you'll be able to share that story with the world.
Daniel Hapti is probably one of the best kept secrets in the whole world. His actually, this man was our African Legacy Civility Person of the Year 2022. His actual journey could have made him a bitter man, could have made him have vengeance in his heart towards others that have mistreated this man. But this man has turned around and he's created an actual leadership program that is actually training people how to do it the right way. And what is so special about him, many times people that have seen poor like leadership, they model the same thing when they get into office. They say that they don't want to do it, but it's all that they've seen. But this man, what he's walked through and who he is today, we're blessed to call him the African.
Oh, thank you so much. So, Dr. Daniel, could you share your story and your work with His Royal Highness?
Wow, what a day, what a journey. And thank you, Dr. Patrick, first of all. And I would like to thank you for this opportunity and His Royal Highness, King Amissah the First. I spoke to him. Our journey began in 2019, actually, over the phone. And the moment I spoke with him, I can't really express the way I felt. his words was like a bullet, but it lifted me up from where I was at that time, and it gives me hope. And what I am now today is actually when he spoke to me in 2019 over the phone, just before I saw him and even before I gripped his hand. And in 2022, last time we went together for his coronation in Ghana, and the atmosphere was absolutely wonderful. And I had a chance to meet him personally, to talk with him. And even though when he was crowned as a king, but he can talk to you humbly, genuinely, generously, and giving you a guide where you can reach. So this man is a man of God. No, I met a lot of people, but very few people in the world that are very genuine and very generous to the ideas they can give it to you, and to the guidance they can guide you. And speaking to him and walking with him, Africa should be celebrated. Young and youth should be full of hope because of this king. And then every leader has to be rejoiced because this king, this man, knows how to work together.
Mhm.
Many African leaders have blew it, but God has given us a second chance, as we say it together with him. When Joseph was in slavery, when God brought him to the throne, this is history, but it is happening now today. We know the great film coming to America, but this history is coming to Africa. And many people, there are so many hopeless people, but by meeting His Royal Highness and working with him, Africa should be enlightened, should be rejoiced, and a lot of people who deserves to be in civility, they have to be hopeful and work hard, because this is a chance for Africa. This is a chance. I mean it. I said it again and again. I stress on it because Africa should be celebrated. A few weeks ago, I have been awarded by 2 awards, African Civility Icon Legacy and African Ambassadorship of Civility. I have never thought about it. I have never dreamed it. But simply by talking with him and sharing my story, this is a man of giving hope generously and giving guide to every person who deserves. So I really thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. This book launch has to be invaded every civility, every organization, every institution, every church, because civility for all, and we need civility, every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel, for having that great heart for Africa and for really reminding us that there is need to honor and celebrate Africa. Why? Because Africa is the mother of humanity. Humanity started in Africa. Every human being alive today has an African ancestor. Whether they accept it or not, that's a different question. But historically and factually, it's true. So the celebrations should start from home, because Africa is the home of the world. Thank you.
You know, there is a lot of things that doesn't share what is happening in Africa. Many people are sharing, the bad stuffs only, but a lot of good stuff is happening as well. And with this leadership, Africa has to be celebrated and enlightened. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we are going to bring in Professor Jared Akama. He is a professor of legacy, and His Royal Highness, when he puts in on his microphone, because we seem to be losing him, you'll be able to say some few words about him as well. But importantly, I'm going to bring him on. Professor Jared Akama is as well I think is chief. Right? He's going to tell us more about his position. Hello, Professor Akama, or Chief Akama.
Hi to you, Dr. Professor Businge, and His Highness King Amissah.
King Amissah, could you please put on a volume, maybe exit and then come back? And in the meantime, Professor Akama, could you tell us, actually, we are very excited to see you the way you're dressed and what that represents in royalty.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Businge, for giving me this opportunity to say something about myself. As you can see me, that I am a paramount chief to Bakohoe monarchy nation in South Africa, which I was coronated on 29th last month. And I have followed the footsteps of King Amissah, His Royal Highness. And as I can say that God gave me a kind of a vision to anoint him as a king, and he can remember one day I gave him this African wink, which means leadership. I gave him, and little did I know that soon he could be inaugurated as a king. Let me just have to say honestly that Dr. King Amissah I is a great man. And let me just have to say that sometimes when I look at him, sometimes I get emotional in the sense that his great ancestors, they had to endure the turbulent and all the storms to go all the way to United States of America. They had been written off, but God never writes people off. You see that his great ancestors were chained, put in the pot to the source of of America. But remember, I hope he came to Africa with the business class to go to be enthroned the king, and even went to the coastal areas where his ancestors were shipped. That's God. And if you can see how you have entitled this book, A Long Walk to the Throne. And the meaning of a walk is to take a step. And I want to believe that King Amissah I, he took a step of faith. And when you take a step of faith is to hope for the things which are not unseen. And Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 says, without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he will reward him honestly if you seek him. You see what God has done to Sir Dr. Clyde Rivers. He is a king among the kings. When King Jesus and God, who is our king, Sir Clyde Rivers is one of the kings. He has elevated him into the throne. And remember, when you see this man, you have heard, you have said that our prophets who tells people that they have to write their story when they're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Clyde Rivers is a man. If I describe him as a man with immense humility. He is down to earth. He changes people. If you meet him, you will never remain the same. I met him almost 10 years ago, and when I was almost giving on him, he encouraged. You know, sometimes in life, there are those people who want to bring you down. Dr. Clyde Rivers is never the same. Instead, he will elevate you to be what you are. Remember, he always say that if you have to move on, you have to treat people with kindness and civility. You have to treat people in kindness and civility. That's who he is. When I met him, he said that I'm going to make you a professor. Am I a professor today? Is he a man who keeps his words? Many more people will say things when you are still alive, and it's good, my king, your Royal Highness, that you hear these things. People say this when you are still alive. It is very important. The next aspect I would address is the throne. The throne is a chair of state or of high dignitary, royal power, reigning as a monarchy or a ruler of a country or a kingdom. Remember, he has no kingdom, but God gave him a kingdom. What is impossible with man is possible with God. If God says that you are going to be somebody today, nobody can stop you, because God is in the throne. Remember, King Amissah, you are a king with an unprecedented level of prosperity. You make people prosper. And when you make people prosper, that is what I call development. You remember, my background is development, and development is improving the qualities of the life of the people. That is exactly what you are doing. You promote peace, you talk peace, because we say if we have to have prosperity in the world, we have to have peace. This is what I have learned from Dr. Clyde Rivers. Honestly, Professor Businge, I could say that I have seen Sir Clyde Rivers, King Amissah I, as a man who is very confidential. If you discuss something with him, that is it. But others, you know what they do? You discuss something, you will hear something else. That is not the man I am associated with. I have learned that he is a confidential man. He gives me confidence. He is sure of what he wants. And he always tells me, look here, Jared, that if you want something, nobody could stop you because you want it. Sometimes we give people to have a narrative of our lives to deter us simply because we don't know what we want. He has given me that confidence. And whatever I do with a lot of confidence, and I work tall. Sir Dr. Rivers, I have known him, and he has taught me to be committed with what I do. Commitment. That man you see here is committed to what he is doing. And when he tells you to change his kingdom by inviting you, please support him. He has said that he has never asked donations for what he has been doing because he has had faith in God. And he has said that this book, and which I agree, that we are going to put it in every library in the continent of Africa and elsewhere in the world. Dr. Clyde Rivers has taught me to have one of good conduct, and is of good conduct. He has taught me to have character. He has taught me to see community, to serve the communities. He has said that if I have a message, I have to communicate well. He talked about civility, that he promotes God and rule. King Amissah is a man of immense compassion. And if you don't have compassion, you cannot serve people. That's what he has taught me as a chaplain also as well. You must have compassion for people. You must have empathy for people. You must feel for people. And whoever he has, he has said, he has met, that is the testimony they are giving. Dr. Clyde Rivers, His Highness, His Royal Highness, he always tells people that if you have to be very serious, you have to embrace common sense in whatever we do. And when he talks about common sense, Sir Clyde Rivers is talking about wisdom. God has given us intellect that which we have to use. Remember, Sir Clyde Rivers has always taught me about to be courageous in whatever I do. Those are the 10 C's which I can say about it. I've said that he has faith in God, and this is complete trust, and he has confidence in whatever he does. To have faith in God is to walk in practical commitment. That's what Sir Clyde Dr. Rivers is. He has changed people. He has walked with the might and the. He does not discriminate. He walks with kings. He dines with the kings. He dines with the common man. And finally, you always say that if you mistreat God's people, you have got a date with God. And that's why he always summarizes that. Please let us treat people with kindness and respect. And I found it worth to quote Ben Carson for having said that if we have to be conditioned to think that ordinary politicians can solve our problems, but at some point, maybe we will wake up and recognize that it was politicians who created our problems. So Sir Clyde Rivers said that if we work together, if we treat people with kindness and respect, we can be able to change the world. And together we are going to change the world. Remember, when we are walking out of this world, two things we leave behind. It is the photo, is our picture, and the book, which we live for 100 years from today or 200 years from today, if Jesus has not brought his has not come. So, if there is any man, I will recommend one to be associated with is King Amissah, and you will never be the same. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Professor Paramount Chief, His Majesty, I guess, Jared Akama, for those great words, the 10 C's. We've still lost sound from His Royal Highness. I'm not sure what's happening. I can't hear what he's saying. But what I'm saying is thanks so much for that commitment and for what you've shared with the world today. And importantly, you talked about practical commitment. And that reminds me of this photograph. This one of the photographs in the Long Walk to the Throne. I'm not sure which city, or you'll be able to tell us which town this was taken. But this is commitment, honor, not just honor, but honor Africa. So this was in the evening, as you can see in the photographs, and he had to stop in the street and honor one of the young people in that city. That is commitment. That's practical commitment you're talking about in your 10 C's. But at the same time, the compassion, you talked about compassion, that if you don't have compassion, you can't serve people. So that is very, very powerful as well. So thanks so much for that, sharing your experience and sharing from your heart about His Royal Highness. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So we are going to move forward. And Professor Kam, I'm sure you're very, very busy and you're soon leaving us. So what is the last words you want to share with us, our audience, just before we leave?
Yeah, this what I have to say that in this point in time, God is in the business of preparing men and the women.
Yes.
Who are going to have the final sprint and serve humanity.
Yes.
Diligently, as He has always wanted us to be.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
In doing this, we have to work together.
Perfect.
And you always know that I say we are a team, that when we are a team, together, each and everyone achieves more. Each achieves more. We are going to achieve more. If you know what? I was not a paramount chief last year. He was not the king the other year, but now he is a king. I am a paramount chief, and what I'm trying to say, that God is preparing men and the women who he looks from his throne, and he says that I'm happy with you. And I'm trying to tell you that when we have God's favor, this is what you can see. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
you, Professor.
Thank
Great
you so
man.
much, Professor Akama. Yes, His Royalness, do you have a word or two to say to Paramount Chief Akama before he leaves us?
Yes, he's an example of process. I've watched this man, people threatened by his excellence, but he stayed the course. And now he has African Legacy Institute. He's a paramount chief. He's about to become a deputy governor. This professor is a man of process, and everywhere he gets, he will stand and go higher because he gets there the right way. Thank you, Professor Akama.
I salute you, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh yes, so we are more or less coming towards the end of the book launch, and very soon we'll be joined by Dr. Manoj Shah, and he will be able to share his story with us about your long walk with him. But importantly, one of the things that you've done is that you've worked in education. As we wait for Dr. Shah, you've worked in education, and there are things that you've looked as you go through the different countries in Africa. So what do you have to say about education, and how can it be transformed?
I think the one thing we need to do in Africa is capacity education. We've taught people's heads, but now we got to teach their hands. When we teach the hands, they will know how to build the future of the continent. It's one thing to have an educated head, but until you educate the hands to do the work, the regions will stay the same. And I believe there's a shift in education in Africa. We're going to educate their hands to do the work.
That is powerful, because that point leads us straight to what Dr. Manoj Shah does in Kenya.
Let me state something. We've honored with the Sir Clyde Rivers Presidential Civility Award for like Greatness University. We've honored Mama Sarah Obama. We've honored Ernest Bai Karuma, and we honored Joyce Banda. And I want to put my nomination for 2022 Greatness University Presidential Award to Manoj Shah. That's what I'm asking Greatness University to do that for this man. Okay, Dr. Basingye?
Thanks so much for that great nomination. I will definitely get on to the process.
Perfect.
And make sure it's accomplished by the end of the year. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
And importantly, that's why we're here to celebrate you, but at the same time celebrate the people that have worked with you, like the great Dr. Manoj Shah. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick Busingye, for hosting this show. For the last 1 hour, I've been hearing speaker after speaker giving their praise to His Royal Highness and talking about what their experience has been with His Royal Highness. Let me start by extending my heartiest congratulations to His Royal Highness, Amissah, King Amissah, on the launch of this lovely book, Long Walk to the Throne. Just to reflect back on the discussion that was being held a moment ago, education for children, a memory just comes into my mind of 2019, just before COVID, where King Amissah visited our country of Kenya, and on one fine Saturday afternoon, we had the opportunity of going with King Amissah to one of the biggest slums that we have in the city of Nairobi. We took King Amissah to visit this school, and our objective at this particular school that was for the slum children who couldn't afford basic education was to provide them with some food, with some educational material, and also to give them hope. As we went to the school, His Royal Highness looked at the school, talked to the children, talked to the administrators of the school, and came back to me and told me that Manoj, these children, what you are doing for them is great, but I want you to, if you really want to transform their lives, then we need to provide them with the necessary books, necessary educational material, and that's only the way we can build the future of these children. And he also told me that in many parts of Africa, when we talk about children, our future, what is it that we want to do to make them our future? And that day, I fully understood, and I want to share the success of the inspiration and motivation that His Royal Highness gave to us on that day. I have been a regular visitor together with my Lions clubs and other well-wishers, and today that school has transformed the lives after 2 years of more than 2,000 children. We have
Wow.
given them all the educational material. We have given them the necessary educational books. We have also made sure that we have improved the quality of learning standard in the slums, into the one of the worst areas in the slums of Kenya. So this is just a short story that I wanted to share with you, Dr. Patrick Musinge, and all our viewers here, that with the vision and inspiration of His Royal Highness, we have been able to transform the lives of more than 200 children. Coming back to this evening and talking about His Royal Highness, I have been associated with His Royal Highness, and I must thank him for giving me the opportunity of working with him for the last 1.5 decades. And I can only share with all of you with a lot of conviction that the inspiration, motivation, and the personal growth that I personally have developed through His Royal Highness has been phenomenal. It has motivated me to do more for the needy and less fortunate members of our society in Kenya. Having said that, I also want to share with all of you that not only my life has been transformed by His Royal Highness, who gave me a unique opportunity to work with the Golden Rule, to work with the World Civility Program, to work with various honors and awards, to work on various projects in Kenya, and of course to support Burundi. But His Royal Highness has also impacted on my family. And I want to give you an exemplary example of my young daughter Soyam, who is 31 years old. And it was only 7 years ago that she met His Royal Highness during one of his visits to our country of Kenya. And by interacting with him, by His Royal Highness motivating her, by having one-to-one sessions with her, mentoring her, today she is a transformed young lady doing a lot for the youth. His Royal Highness inspired her that Soyam, that's the name of my young daughter, that what is it that you can do that other youth can emulate you. And I can only remember that His Royal Highness had one-to-one 6 or 7 mentoring sessions consequently to put her on the right path. And today she has done exceptionally well, in not only in terms of philanthropic service, but in mentoring many other youth in our country of Kenya. Your Royal Highness, I am truly indebted to you for the transformation that you have made to my daughter. And I'm also sure that there are many more out there, like my daughter, that you have impacted upon. His Royal Highness is now a family to us, to my wife and I and my daughter. And of course, he has also impacted upon what we as a family look at quality life. Talking about myself, I have been in the philanthropic world for more than 3 decades, having worked with the Lions Clubs International, and I've been instrumental in many national and international developments, not only in our country of Kenya, but in many parts of Africa. I do give leadership to 2 big hospitals, charitable hospitals that do free work in Kenya. One is the eye hospital that gives eyesight to more than 20,000 individuals in our country of Kenya every year and screens more than 500,000 children for visual problems. At the same time, I also give leadership to another hospital where we carry out many health activities that benefit the needy and less fortunate members of our society. I've been involved in the health sector, environmental sector, feeding the hungry, and of course, most importantly, once again, with inspiration from His Royal Highness, I have now become a mentor to many youth in this country. And this is something that I love doing, transforming lives of young people, making sure that we put them on the right path and show them the light of success. Today, as we celebrate the road to kingdom, this lovely book that has been launched by His Royal Highness, memories only come to my mind of His Royal Highness, the impact that he has made in Burundi, in Ghana, in Uganda. I have been a witness and testimony that wherever he goes, his humbleness, the way he mentors people, inspires them, motivates them to get things done. It is unbelievable. I have yet to see a person of His Royal Highness caliber that is able to do this. I could go on and on this evening and share many of the real life experiences that I've had with His Royal Highness. But like you rightly said, time does not permit me. And I would like to end once again by extending my sincere appreciation for the friendship, for the mentorship, and for the vision that His Royal Highness King Amissah has given to me personally and my family. God bless you, King Amissah, and carry on with the great work. Back to you, Dr. Patrick Busingye.
Man,
Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj,
wow.
for sharing that message.
Patrick, if you don't mind me, Dr. Manoj Shah has a book called One in a Million. You need to get that book. And yes, no, One in a Million. This is a book I recommend every institution to have. And Dr. Shah, I would love to have this book go in conjunction with mine as we put these books in every library in schools in Africa. I would love to have this book be a part of that equation.
It will certainly be my pleasure, Your Excellency.
Perfect. Patrick Busingye, thank you. And I must share, Dr. Shah was our first honorary doctorate of philanthropy. Our United Graduate College and Seminary has created a new honorary doctorate, and it's an honorary doctorate in philanthropy. And our first recipient of this honorary doctorate was Dr. Manoj Shah for the evidence and results he's produced. And I'm not here to like take any light off the book launch, but to have a man like Manoj Shah, to have a man like Dr. Gordon Bradshaw, Dr. Sophia Lowell, Dr. Akama, Daniel Habdi, man, it gets no better than this. And Patrick, again, Greatness University, I want to thank you so much, and I want to announce that within the next week we're gonna launch a donation that people can donate to help us get this book into every institution in the world. And now I want Dr. Manoj Shah's book to be tied to mine as we get this into every institution. And Patrick, man, and Jillian, your family is like my family. And I'm humbled for this great day. Thank everyone so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manoj. Thanks so much, Your Royal Highness. And as we move towards the closure of this amazing book launch, there's one pearl, one treasure we've not yet touched, and that is the UGCSI. So you are a dean at the United Graduate College and Seminary, and you mentioned about Dr. Manoj being the very first person to receive a doctorate in philanthropy. So that is this institution, which is amazing and great. And we have a message. We have a message from the Chancellor, Michael Pizzo, about his long walk to the throne with you. Would you like to say a word before the message or after her message?
I'll say it after the message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael P. Pitzel, and I am the 2020 Global Educator of the Year, a Civility Icon Award. I'm also the founder of a life education system called Searcherdemics and Chancellor of United Graduate College and Seminary International. When I first met His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers almost 14 years ago, I had none of these titles. I was a wide-eyed educator with a passion to change the world. His Royal Highness must have seen that potential, and if you've ever had the pleasure of meeting him, you know that this is one of his gifts. He searches for God in others and their unique contribution to this world. Then he calls it by name and shows you how to grow it. His Royal Highness is what I call a true searcher to mission. I met His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers in 2007, and I started traveling with him to the continent of Africa that same year. This became the best thing that ever happened in my life. I was a student at Latin University of Theology, and he was a worldwide commissioner and a professor. During this time, His Royal Highness showed students how to think outside of the box and to be unlimited in their thinking. He taught us that anything was possible. His assignments encouraged us to be creative and think of innovative possibilities. The classes engaged our God capacity as they forced us to create solutions to real-world issues. Later, I became a student of United Graduate College and Seminary International. As a student, I began to develop curricula, which His Royal Highness encouraged me to use in our travels. Today, we have 6 affiliate institutions who practice our new education philosophy worldwide. His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers treats every single opportunity that is given to him as a most important job, the most important job that he has been given, no matter how small or large. I have also witnessed His Royal Highness value every single human being in his path, from a person on the street to the CEO of a company to a king in his palace. His Royal Highness treats each person with the same honor and respect that every image of God deserves. I cannot begin to explain my gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity to work with a world changer. Having walked with a world changer, I've become a world changer. His Royal Highness has truly walked a long journey with the same focus, to treat others as he would want to be treated, and with an open and pure heart to help humanity. It is a true honor to serve with His Royal Highness Sir Clyde Rivers.
Wow, man. Chancellor Michael is one of the greatest education innovators I've ever met in my life. And I've had the privilege to work with her for all those years. Man, thank you for those kind words.
And thank you so much as well for transforming the world, because it's one of the things she's just said is that having worked with a world changer, I became a world changer. And I think that's a message I want as well to pass around, having worked with you. It has allowed me to change the world. And thanks so much for that legacy that you've left in me.
And Patrick, what I was saying closing is next week we're gonna start to donate people to donate for the book.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what country we're going to target at first, and then we'll just bring the ambassador and we'll start targeting. And people, please give to this project. We want to give hope to every individual, and 1 in a Million and A Long Walk to the Throne are 2 books that I think every university, every education institution in the continent of Africa and the world needs to know this. So please participate in this book project with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And this brings us to the end of this Royal Book Launch. It's been amazing for all the special guests that have joined us. Thanks so much for sharing your message, of sharing your legacy, and importantly, dedicating this time to be with us. And all our viewers from different countries, thanks so much for dedicating your time as well to be with us and grow with us and be able to change the world. Thank you.
Thank you.